You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Started as everyone else comes on board. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the GoToMeeting chat function, and we'll get to those questions throughout the presentation and then with the Q&A session at the end. So thanks, and we'll get started in just a couple minutes. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I introduce myself. I'm Derek Wood. I'm the Partner Product Manager here at SOS, and I'm joined here by the Director of Marketing, Shaylin Herrick.
Good morning, good afternoon.
So today we're going to be going through why you want to come into our program and how you'll make money coming into our program, what the service means to you, what it means to your customers, and generally what we're going to give you when you come into the SOS ServerSave Partner Program. We do call it the SOS 360-degree Partner Program because we feel, as many of our partners do, that we give you the quickest road or the quickest route to market out of anyone who provides any type of backup, let alone the different strategies of backup we're offering. So the quick overview of the industry, we have the graph on the right that shows where online backup is today. Right now, and this is from IDC, and this is what they do. So IDC is showing that right now we're right in the middle of the early majority phase, which is the biggest ramp up in any market. We came from 2001, 2002 being on more of the left part of this bell graph, the innovator stage, so rather low adoption. And we've seen growth due to increases in the savviness of the buyers, the bandwidth availability, so infrastructure improvements throughout the U.S., throughout the world really, and also a proved security. So a lot of people, in even 2007, 2008, were still a little wary of online backup and the security behind such a service. And through people just continuing to use it and adopt it, we found that this is really no longer an issue. Online banking is a regular occurrence. Online backup is much more secure than online banking. So we've seen a 33% growth year over year between 2009 and 2011 just in the consumer market. So that's where the online backup market's really been driven. And that market, very much a commodity market, is now being even more greatly expanded by the SMB market, which is what we've been targeting all along with the greater security, the dual offsite backup, the global grid that we have available for our partners and customers to take advantage of. So everything we've done the last few years that seemed a little overkill is now coming to fruition in the SMB adoption.
So just to highlight the difference between home adoption and SMB adoption, the difference really is in what kind of data is being created and, of course, how much of it there is being created. So you, as a consumer, are constantly creating data, such as on your phone or on your laptop. You're taking pictures, you're taking videos, you're creating data, and a lot of it you want to protect and keep safe. However, think about how that is grown exponentially when you're in a business. When you're in a business with 50 to 100 employees, everyone is constantly creating digital data, and employers are very interested in keeping the data that their employees make. So they want to back it up, and they want to back it up with one single provider, one single managed service provider. We have a white paper called 2012 Market Outlook for MSPs, which you should certainly ask your partner specialist for if you haven't seen that already, which discusses a lot of Gartner and IDC data pointing to the concept that SMBs and enterprises want to get their backup from an online backup provider whose core competency is IT services, backup, business continuity, and data protection. And that's you. So we're here to enable you to do that and take advantage of this growing market. The slide that we have up on the screen right now shows the difference between growth and cost in tape backup versus online backup. As you guys probably know, tape backup is a little bit passe, and maybe some companies still prefer it. However, there's a massive difference fundamentally in the type of backup that it is. Online backup is off-site, therefore making it more secure. You have the power to avoid any natural disaster or anything that may occur to the building in which the tape is housed. So tape inherently is a bit more dangerous, a bit more vulnerable than online backup is. And it used to be that online backup was more expensive than tape. Now no longer the case. That's what we call this price, functionality, and inflection point, the blue line and the red line that you see intersecting on the graph in front of us. That indicates this point at which online backup is just as cost efficient as tape and much more reliable.
And even going into the market a little bit more is the big change we have in IT services. IT services historically has been an hourly-based relationship, and it's been negative. If you look at the amount of money that you make, it would be in the exact contradiction to the amount of money that your customers are losing. So what we call a break-fix relationship is something breaks, they call you to fix it, but they have all this downtime, so this loss of productivity while you're trying to get on site or remoting in, whatever you're doing to fix something, the cost of you fixing it, and then still the downtime throughout that fix-it time. So what we've seen is a maturity of the market through both better software, better infrastructure, where we can now provide what we are calling a total business protection or business continuity services, and really describe that as the managed service market. With business continuity, we get out of the negative relationship we have where your customers see you as a cost center. They don't see you as really an asset, a part of the company. It's really, oh, we got to pay this guy again, or this girl again, this woman, this company, to fix something that's breaking. And we're not really that confident that they're fixing things for long-term solutions, that they're just fixing it enough to get it working then, and then we're going to have the same issue later on. It's kind of the relationship that a lot of people have with their auto mechanic. Same exact thing. You have somebody who's using a tool but has no specialization in how that tool actually functions. And they have to have a lot of trust to pay someone regularly to have it fixed. That's why you've seen a lot of the modern marketing plans for BMW, Toyota, with Toyota Care being, bringing your car regularly to us, and we'll prevent these things from happening. It's Project Management 101 that prevention is a lot more cost effective than any type of reaction to something going wrong. So getting into managed services makes you an asset to the company. So that's why back on this previous slide, the IDC below, they specifically wrote that this data speaks to an untapped opportunity for offerings beyond data backup and recovery, such as continuity services, et cetera, what we just talked about. So going into the market, we're really looking at a huge growth just in the adoption and the scope of adoption of online backup and the cost of those services. But as far as how the market will look moving forward with the transformation of a purely hourly-based relationship to a regular recurring billing relationship, we just don't know. I'd like to put up a quick survey. A lot of our partners are looking for a good foot-in to the managed service market, and backup is typically used as that first step. And that's because backup is a natural move for managed services. Backup is something that everyone needs, and it's a really good spot to start at. If you throw in a whole managed service package to somebody at once, they're going to have quite the sticker shock and just kind of be kind of freaked out by the amount of money you're asking for every month, when before they were just paying you when they thought they needed you. Is anyone else in the position where they're using this as a stepping stone? Are you already doing managed services and you're looking to value add? Anyone not doing managed services at all, maybe doing a retail option? or selling on a mass market scale through maybe an ISP, let us know what you're looking for in online backup and with the SOS backup program, as we do have partners in all of these areas, and we'll make sure to speak to those as we go through the presentation.
And this is also a really good time to point out as we transition into talking about what is included in the SOS 360-degree partner program, that we do need you guys to ask questions. We want to enter you into a drawing for a Kindle, but you do need to ask a question in order to be entered for that drawing. So please ask away. We love for this to be interactive, and we love to get your thoughts on what your needs are and exactly what your pain points may be and what questions we can answer for you. We have a question, do you offer SLAs?
We do have our own software SLA, but really the SLA when it comes to managed services is between you and the customer. Can you be more specific in what kind of SLA you're looking for? We have uptime solutions, 99.9% for our data centers, things of that nature.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into what is included in the 360-degree partner program as more questions roll in. The SOS 360-degree partner program is a business in a box. We know that it sounds kind of cliche, maybe a little bit tacky to say that, but it's very, very true. If you just decided today you had no MSP business whatsoever, but you wanted to start one, and you wanted to start it by selling online backup, you could come to us and get started. You would come to us, you would get rebranded sales materials, rebranded marketing materials, you would get award-winning software, you would get a website template on which you could sell online backup. So that's another good question. If there's anybody online today who does not have their own website for their business, let us know. This is certainly included within the program at no additional cost, which is very cool, and we're one of the few guys out there that does that. Thanks, Derek. To my point, we're one of the few guys out there that does this. Here's a quick comparison against Intronis, Joins, Segra, and XD Backup. We are one of the few who offer business development assistance for free. After you come online as a partner, you will get access to our business development manager, Mike Zarudny, and he'll be able to help you with marketing plans, how to use our marketing materials, how to get in and pitch businesses, and just what the virtues of online backup are, and what are the things that your customers will want from online backup. He'll help you craft all of that. He's a sales guy by nature, and he wants to be able to help you sell and to train you how to sell. So that's a fantastic feature. Another big, awesome feature is that there is no hardware purchase required. Many partner programs do require you to purchase a box, and that could be $2,000 to $4,000. That is not necessary with our program. Our program is a very simple monthly build program and very flexible, very easy for you to start making recurring revenue off of immediately. We also have data centers in the UK, US, Canada, and Australia. We have multiple data centers in the US, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
All right, we got some good questions coming up. One from Matt saying, what do you feel separates you from the competition in this growing market? We're looking for an online backup solution to sell to our small, medium businesses, and we really need a qualified partner. Well, one thing is our attention to the partner program. We've really gone above and beyond the call of anyone else out there in the market, as seen with the web integration package. We have regular discussions with our partners. We very much form our product roadmap around the feedback we get from our partners. Beyond that, just at a service level, our global presence, the global grid we have for online backup is larger than anyone else's and always has been. The security focus that we have has always been the best in the market. We've done better at speed tests. The software is just really terrific. With the addition of ServerSave, which allows for bare metal backup and recovery, as well as exchange granular recovery, we've now given you a program where you don't just have a simple solution, where it's just, well, even before November, we just had online backup for file and folders, and we had a local backup for files and folders, but nothing for databases or bare metal backup. And for the full solution, you really need to be able to provide local backup, online backup at both file and folder level and bare metal level. We now give you every strategy in one box, so to speak. So we now give you everything that you would need. So rather than having to manage multiple vendor relationships, as a lot of our partners used to, we used to literally recommend that they go to different companies like Zenith or Dado to do their bare metal backup and recovery for local strategies, and then use us for offsite. So we now really give you more than anyone else at a price that really makes you, not just competitive, but really undercutting the market and still profitable. Another question, if you have follow-up to that, Matt, great question. Rodney asked, what do you mean by hosted billing? We're not actually hosting the billing. What we've done with the web integration package is we've integrated various modules into one web package that we host for you. One of these things is just the integration to the SOS partner APIs. What we found a couple of years ago was that our partners using the APIs to integrate into some sort of merchant gateway system so they could charge people online was about a 3 to 5 month turnaround and spending an average of $5,000 to $8,000 to get that done. Well, we decided, what, our partners seem to all want this. Let's develop something where they can just plug in the merchant gateway details to be good to go. So that's what we did, and we'll go through that at the end when we go through the demo. Robert says, business continuity usually involves hardware to put the backup on in the recovery process. What is the bare metal restore hardware compatibility? Windows machines, so you get a Windows box and put it in. We have recommended hardware configurations that we can go through and that we will go through in the demo a little bit. But for the most part, we give you the software tools to put together the solution. So business continuity is what you or our partners will provide overall, and we're giving you a major part of that continuity service, which is the SOS backup solution. And then behind that, it's your management services and any hardware services you can put in there. Naturally, hardware management is a huge part of any recovery process. Tech refresh, making sure that you're preventing hardware failure. Good questions, everybody. We're going to go through the product suite real quickly. So starting at 12 o'clock, we have a set of experimental products that we're currently working on, backing up your cloud life. More and more productivity is being done in the cloud. So how do we protect that information? A lot of people consider it being in the cloud as being backed up, being secure. But really, it's just not true. It's on somebody's hardware somewhere. You have to make sure that that hardware is set up to be a backup. For Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, it's not set up this way. Every time there's a global event, the Twitterverse blows up, people use their followers, etc. Social marketing is a huge aspect of most businesses nowadays. It's important to be able to protect these things. So right now we have an experimental Facebook backup application. We'll be coming out with more, and we'll let you know as we progress through that. Going clockwise, backing up your system data. So now the addition of ServerSafe allows you to back up entire volumes so that you can restore as a virtual drive, or you can go through a bare metal recovery process with a boot disk. Same thing with the application data, SQL servers, Exchange, SharePoint, running transactionally consistent backups so that while they're open, you still grab the backups, we can get them off site. And we have a new service called CloudBoot that we're supporting right now for smaller servers, mostly web servers, smaller application servers, where we can actually mount your machines in our cloud and give you remote access to them.
So this slide echoes what we were talking about earlier in the desire for SMBs to hire MSPs and IT consultants that offer a complete suite of products that can really help them with everything. So that's why our online backup product suite looks the way that it does on this slide here. It's complete. It is file data, application data, system data, everything that a business would want to back up from end to end. You can provide with our product suite.
And moving through, what do you get in the SOS ServerSafe program? Well, of course, Exchange, backup, and granular recovery is there. And we'll go through a demo of that. Bare metal image creator, which we discussed. Online backup and recovery manager. This is our bread and butter. It's what we've been doing since 2001. It's what we've won now 4 PCMag Editor's Choice Awards beginning in 2006 with our beta, really, when we launched to the U.S. Workstation backup, we have this listed redundantly. It's the same manager as the online backup recovery manager, but it's really just an emphasis that you need to be protecting data at the user level. Users are the biggest hole in any system, and being able to protect their data with a strategy to do that very easily is important, and we give you Premier Web Integration Package, again, we've done the web development that you would need to integrate things like PayPal Pro or Authorize.net integration. We've built in a CMS from CK Editor. We've added in CSS editing as well. There's a mass email tool that we've integrated into this package. And it's just really an example of our attention to the partner program and how we are continually focus on our partner success. And of course the mobile applications, which we have developed and are always developing more and more. We have the Droid application and the iPhone application, and then for other OSs we have mobile portals, which is formatted for any mobile browser.
Now would be a great time to pause and see if there are any additional questions. We are going to get into some competitive information right now, but please ask away, and we will stop and get your questions answered for you. So SOS ServerSave competes in a very different market than Carbonite and Mozy does. Even with Carbonite's new reseller program, SOS ServerSave is still a very different product, namely in that it's putting bare metal images up into the cloud, which Carbonite does not do. So if you have any customers out there asking about Carbonite, well, that's the primary reason why they wouldn't want to go there. SOS ServerSave also offers transactionally consistent bare metal backup, which is a huge selling point, particularly for businesses who have SQL databases or other transaction databases that are constantly updating and exchanging data. It's very important to ensure that transactionally consistent bare metal backups are taken as opposed to crash consistent. That way you ensure that you're taking a snapshot of a final and complete database instead of one that may be missing some information. We include centralized management and reporting, which Derek will show you a bit later. We also, of course, include mobile backup, which we just talked a bit about. And a really important point that often gets overlooked is unlimited file versioning. SOS ServerSave and all SOS Online Backup products offer unlimited file versioning. This is very important for financial customers because they often have to keep data for 3 to 7 years. So any online backup provider that deletes data maybe after 30 or 45 days is not going to be optimal for those customers. Here's a question from Ron. Are you working on a BlackBerry app? I believe we at one point had one and switched our efforts over to Android and iPhone. We've also gotten questions about whether or not we'll have a Windows 8 application, and I don't think that's on the roadmap at the moment, but we can certainly evaluate our customers' need for it and potentially put it on the roadmap.
Right. Our focus is to work in all environments, so we will have these things. We're actually looking at a big expansion of our development team that really just focus on new mobile applications like this. Mobile, being phones or tablets, are becoming a big part of every company's infrastructure.
So SOS ServerSave, if it doesn't compete with Mozy and Carbonite, and when I say doesn't compete, I mean it's not really in the same playground because it's a very different product. Who does it compete with? Who does it rival? It rivals guys like Zenith, Intronus, and eVault, and some of the others that we mentioned earlier, such as Doyen and Asigra. However, it still really shines in its flexibility and type of backup that it performs, as well as its unlimited versioning capability. So a lot of competitors out there in the market you'll find charge extra license fees for laptops, workstations, and just in general endpoints. SOS ServerSave and SOS Online Backup does not do that. So, and as many endpoints as you need to back up, for the most part, we'll be able to accommodate that at the wholesale price that you've been presented and no more.
I'm going to take a minute to go over the global grid as we've been talking about recently. We've always been a globally operated company formed in a kind of a Silicon Valley style dorm room setting, except instead of Silicon Valley, it was in Melbourne, Australia. And then in 2005, we launched to the U.S. market and globally. So we have data centers in Melbourne, Australia, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, with Arizona and Kentucky, as well as Toronto, London, Kiev, and Chennai. So if you are in Canada and need your data to be specifically held in Canadian data centers, or London and specifically held in London data centers, etc., then we can accommodate that. Just let us know. the partner specialists will be able to go through how we'll go around arranging that, and it's that simple. So getting into the program.
So I'll talk a little bit about how easy it is to start your online backup business. So we've talked about the SOS 360-degree partner program being a business in a box. Well, why do we say that? How do we validate that? One of the reasons is that getting started is extremely easy, and we're here to help you do it. So step number one is to ask yourself, do you have the right customer base? Analyze them. Ask yourself questions like, are my customers businesses or residential users? Do they know what backup is? Chances are they probably do, and you wouldn't have to do very much to explain it to them. And what do they need to back up? Do they need to back up servers, laptops? Are they just trying to back up a bunch of photos, or maybe residential users? All of those answers will help you customize the solution for them. And what other services do you provide for them? You may be able to make additional money since you are MSPs and value-added resellers by providing additional services on top of online backup, or stacking online backup on top of the services that you already provide to them. Step number two is to do an ROI analysis with an SOS partner specialist. So our SOS partner specialists are here to make sure that online backup is the right business for you. It is a good thing for you to do. So they will work with you to develop a revenue model, and they will take into consideration who your clients are, so part of step one, in determining how much money you could make on a recurring basis and over a certain period of time. They'll also help you consider pricing options for your new online backup product. And finally, create a business development plan. After you come online as a partner, you'll work with our business development manager on how to pitch online backup and really develop your online backup business plan.
Michael has a great concern and question. He says, I worry about liability issues in case a client's data is lost. Can you address that? Absolutely, and that's when you come into what's formally known as a risk management plan. But as an IT service provider, we're all inherently risk managers. If something breaks, how are you going to fix it? Part of the risk management plan that isn't really taken into account with break fix is prevention. But with prevention and then also good reactionary services, you should be able to cover all your bases. Backup is about a belt and suspenders approach to the whole situation. You shouldn't have a single point of failure. We've never had any record of losing data for customers, so that's not really what you're worried about, but it is not something that we can control if, say, data is corrupted before we take it off-site. There's no way for us to really do anything about that. But with your what a true backup solution means that you have fail-safes for every strategy backup. But as far as the liability in just this service, that's not a problem. But you are correct in being worried about that liability overall with managed service packages. You do need to make sure that you do have no single points of failure is really the best way to go about it. And that's part of what business development management team will do. We run regular webinars to go through formal project management, how to put together a good backup management plan, how to document that information. And when you get into recurring payments with your customers, you really have to up your game in what you're documenting. And it will bring greater authority to what you're doing and bring greater confidence to what you're providing. So getting into the program, where does it start? How much does it cost, and what are you getting? Well, we already told you what you're getting, but with SOS Service Save, when it comes to how many licenses and how much cloud backup space you're getting, we have various packages. And it's a subscription, so you can start off low and then move up high as you like. Really, you talk to your partner specialist, and we're going to make sure that you're starting at the right point. We want to make sure that you're not starting too low so that you're losing money, but we also want to make sure that you're not starting too high that it's a huge loss for you. We don't make any money on you not doing well, so it's in our best interest to make sure that you're doing well. We start at the base package of 1 terabyte of cloud space and 5 server licenses. And if you break it down evenly, so 200 gigs for 1 license, it's about $80 at cost per server package that you would sell. And then for the suggested retail price of just the software, it's about $103 a month. So you already have a pretty decent margin. But then, of course, the managed services on top of that is really where you would make additional margin. And then we have server 10, server 15, server 25. The suggested retail price is all based on an even split, and we understand that may not be what you'll see in every environment, but it's some baseline to talk about.
And really, we feel it's the bare minimum suggested retail price within the industry. We do have partners that are selling server backup to the cloud for $400 or $500 a month per server. So depending on the businesses that you're going into and the additional services that you're offering them, you can definitely increase your margin, and you're totally free to do so. And we take no commission on your margin. It is completely yours. So are there any questions about this pricing structure? Sometimes we get questions regarding the monthly cost per server license and backup licenses and what's the difference. I'd like to just very quickly clarify that they're all part of the same package. There are no additional fees. If you're looking, for example, at SOS ServerSafe 5, there are no additional fees for server licenses. There are no additional fees for backup licenses. They are included in this package that is $399 a month. Additionally, you can provision and use the cloud space however you like. We don't care if you're using it with the licenses, the server licenses, or on laptops. It's completely up to you to provision however you and your clients need.
I think as questions come in, we'll go ahead and go through a demo. So first, I'm going to start by just bringing up the partner dashboard. Actually, I'm going to start by going to the SOS website and going to our support suite so you can look around for questions as you're still evaluating the program. You want to search through, talk to somebody, what you want to do. So SOSOnlineBackup.com, when we hit support in the top right, and we have a support hotline that will come here to our Los Angeles office where we have partner support reps standing by. So if you call between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific time, you will reach somebody in this office. Overflow and off hours will go to our Indian support team, who we make sure are very well versed in our program and actually some of the more senior and sometimes our L3 escalation points. So we have this hotline just for our partners. If you go to submit a ticket, that's always a great way to start a ticket. That way you have a referenceable point. But then we have a knowledge base. We make sure that as you use our knowledge base, anytime you're submitting a ticket, the question that you're entering should pull up an article that should give you a solution. It's a practice of ours of every time a ticket does come in, we type in right here the exact question that you have for us or exact issue. And if an article doesn't come up, we fix that and we make sure it does come up. Or if there is no article created, then we'll go ahead and create one. So our goal is really to make things as self-serving as possible with the interest of time, whether it's restore a time objective, you need to know how to restore a certain item, and that's really, it depends on the environment from there. Rob asks, what is the average monthly income of your partners now?
I don't know the exact number of average monthly income, and I couldn't really tell you that because everybody is on different packages. However, I can tell you that the average margin is between 60 and 70%. So depending on what package you're considering going into, that should help lead you to your answer. Please let me know if you have any other questions on that. Hopefully I've answered it the best I can.
Right, and so if you come down to the SOS ServerSafe area and knowledge base, you have some information regarding the clients as well as the SOS Partner Program, which is just below there. So you get more information about the web integration package, the hosting of the package, how that works, different merchant account information, and the dashboard, which we'll just go ahead and get into. So delivery, so once you sign up with SOS, it's something between 1 and 2 days, 1 and 2 business days, for you to get completely set up and ready to go. When you get set up and ready to go, you're sent an email and also contacted by one of our support staff here in LA with login credentials to here so you can get started. The first thing we see is the Central Management Portal, and on the right, the Update to News feed. Update to News is just a great area for you to keep up to date with SOS. We publish new updates about every 2 weeks. With the Central Management Portal, you can open this up. And this gives us a summary of what's happening currently with all the deployments. Now we use this for all of our trials. So what we see here is, a red mark saying the backup completed, but it hasn't run in the last week. This is because the trial expired. But we can see details as far as what happened. We can filter the indicator to show us, let's just show us the OK ones, or actually let's just show us if any that are running currently. Okay, so rare, no backups are actually running. But we can see this, we can see the completed ones, but really when we want to see the failed, we want to see as we're managing things, what should we be looking for? We're really looking for the ones that just haven't been running. So this is just a really helpful day-to-day operational thing. You can put your email address up here, so every day at 6 a.m. Central Time, you'll get an email summary of all of the deployments that are listed under your account, and the most recent status for all of those accounts. Rob asked, how many partners do you currently have, and how many sign up in an average month? We currently have just under 1,000 partners, and not including some of our larger OEM partners. And I'd say we sign up anywhere between 90 and 120 a month.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yep, I agree with that.
So that's about right, and we just keep seeing it ramp up. So it seems like every month our average grows. It's really a tremendous program, and we're growing because of it. We're looking to expand our development team, our sales team. We've already expanded our partner support team to be here in Los Angeles, so that just went underway last month. We're very excited and happy about the way the business is growing. Managing licenses is very simple. We have licenses here. You can manage licenses, and you simply hit assign. You have a username that you'd like to have the license, the service you have license for, and then you're good to go. Going into the web integration package, I click Launch Web Package here. It'll launch us into the back end of the web integration package. Again, this package was developed with the partner APIs. So really the target and those who will find this tool very useful are those who don't have internal web development resources, those who really like the way that we've turned out the web package and maybe want to move all their web presence over to us. But for those of you who have more advanced web development resources, maybe you already have a lot of SEO work in place, in mind, then you don't have to use this package. We can just give you the partner API to develop against. With that said, going into the web package, let's start with what it looks like. That's the back end, and this is the administration section. On the front side, if we go to partnername.onlinebackupcheckout.com, this is exactly what will be delivered. And we give you the ability to edit all this content through the CSS editor. You can really make this look quite unique. So we've really given you quite a lot of flexibility in getting this done. You can choose the subdomain that it will be hosted on, so partnername.onlinebackupcheckout.com. If you're concerned about being on a subdomain and you really do see a value in using a top-level domain of your choice, let the partner specialist know and they can talk to you about that. So by default, we went from the first iteration of this package had no customer-facing web pages. It was just the sign-up page, which we see here. From there, we started seeing more and more demand for more web presence. So we added more pages, and the last iteration had 3, and now we have 10 full pages of box content. So it really is a get-up-and-go solution. This is exactly what you'll be delivered. Going through the different modules that are in here, we have first, the admin settings, so email signature, admin email addresses, copyright notices, global site metadata and keywords, Google Analytics code, so if you want to do some GA, you can just paste that in here. We have an advanced mailer in here, so you can put in mailer settings. So you put in your SMTP here, you can subscribe to, or you can create different subscription groups, different campaigns, send out mass emails, and then once you do that, you have mailer statistics. That'll help you really evaluate how your campaigns are going. Click rate, unsubscribe rate, email sent, and this is one of the new series of webinars we plan on coming out with, which is a email marketing 101 type run through and how to use this program in that.
And also how to set up your landing pages.
Right, and then Shaylin is actually going to be setting up another one of our new series is a web marketing 101. So by using the keywords per page as well as for global information, so how to really enter the web marketing market.
So those are all pieces of our post-sign-up business development management series. So the objective of that series is to get you selling. Get you selling online, get you selling to your existing customer base, and even new lists of people that haven't been exposed to your service in your geographic area yet.
And we have a basic support module that we've integrated into this package as well. So you're able to receive support requests from your customers if you don't already have a support system. You can always change your admin email to be the one that plugs into whatever PSA that you use. The content management system, that's the big one. So it lets you have a very simple visual editor that you can use. We go to edit here. We see here the content, and if we go to the main home page, you see how simple it is. So it's literally a make a change and then hit refresh type of check to see what you're doing. And then for more advanced users, we have the CSS editor that we've just recently added. So you can change the banner up here at the top, as well as really modify any of the CSS. So if you're like me, you don't know CSS, and you know enough to read it and then make changes, then you have flexibility there. But if you do have in-house resources, or if you have contracted resources that know CSS, they can come in here and really see quite flexible use of this system. Also, if you have neither of those, we do have a strategic partner right now, WebDesign, and you can contract with them to do a complete custom redesign of the site, any custom work you do. They have packages that start as low as $500 for custom templates and design to $75 an hour for just one-off changes that you want to look through or training. So it's great to have right now WebDesign as an asset to our business. As again, we want you to be able to come to us for everything you need to get going into the market.
This is a great question from Tim. Joined a little bit late. That's okay, Tim. Yes, this webinar will be available for viewing later. Will be recorded. It'll be on our website, and you will get emailed a link to it. And is there anything special about backup mobile devices? Yeah, we did talk about this a little bit. There are generic Android and iPhone applications. So it'll actually be, the Android application will be available in a few weeks. The iPhone application is available now.
And I'm just navigating to the Planar site. So under SOS for resellers, and you can go and you can find where there are recorded versions of the trainings or of these webinars that we've run. And then if you'd like to go to any of the upcoming webinars, you have a link here to register for another one.
Okay, so that was a quick overview of our website integration package as well as our partner dashboard. I think now would probably be a great time to get into the SOS ServerSafe product. As I understand it, most of you guys on the line do have SMBs and enterprises as clients that you need to back up, so they are interested in server backup, and this is your product. This is your one-stop shop product that will be able to back up Exchange servers, SQL servers, SharePoint servers, laptops, and workstations.
All right, so let me change the view over so it's a little easier for you all to see. All right, is everyone seeing the PC client software right now? This is the ServerSafe application we're looking at with 4 different applications listed. All right, looks like yes. Okay, so with SOS ServerSafe, and we have 4 applications, but really there's 3. Workstation Backup is really more of a strategy than a separate application. It's the same download from here to here. So we have 3 applications that we include with the ServerSafe suite. So we have the online backup and recovery tool. This is going to allow us to take files off-site to the SOS cloud and recover them from the SOS cloud. We have Bare Metal Image Creator, which is going to allow us to take bare metal images at a volume level and do that locally, as well as recover once those images are local. And then Exchange Granular Recovery, which is also a local program used to dig into those EDB files so you can dig down to the message level or even certain items like calendar items, contacts, etc. So going in order of really how you would set this up in an environment, I'm going to start off with Image Creator. So we have the license details here. We would copy this, and then we would hit this button, and then it would prompt us to download and then install. We already have it installed, so we're just going to launch. First, we're immediately launching to the wizard. So we have Backup, Restore, and Explore Backup. The next tab over is the Windows Volume Manager. This is something that's taken care of in the wizard, so you don't need to really come in here ever. We have our list of backup jobs. So we can edit, pause, execute. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one so I can show you the different scheduling options. Destination path for recovery or backup. So this is something that, again, is taken care of in the wizard. So we'll move on. And then backup history, real plain English history of what's going on. You can see, snapshots created by the VSS. So it's just real plain English as far as what's happening. So back to the wizard. Let's create a backup job. So welcome to the backup wizard. Here are the volumes that we recognize right now. So again, this is a volume-based program. So you would select the volume where Exchange is installed, which is right here, our humble 5 gig Exchange server. If you wanted to pair this up with the C drive, we could. That would be more of a local strategy. But if you plan on going off-site, it really becomes different because your access is different. Of course, it's a lot faster to access something on the local network with a 100 gigabit connection versus across the wire, which could be anything. So we're going to just select the volume where Exchange is installed, and hit Next. Now this is where we would select what we call a staging machine. So I should bring up a good knowledge base article here. If you look up in our knowledge base for staging machine, you'll see a little layout of how we recommend positioning the different applications. So you use Image Creator on the specific servers you'd like to take images of, and you throw those images on somewhere in your local network to a staging machine. Then from the staging machine, you install Online Backup and Recovery and go off-site with those images. The reason for this is, one, it gives you a local backup. It gives you another piece of hardware to recover to, and it saves your production resources when you are running these backup procedures. And we can talk about that in more detail, and we do have a tech and admin training that's run weekly that we go over in much greater detail how to actually set this up in each environment. That's part of our partners webinar series. So I could click the network share, but for now I'm just going to go with our local F drive. We hit Next, then we have different scheduling options. Historically, and for a local backup, you would go weekly. So you would do, meaning you do a full backup of the system every week and then incrementals throughout the week. This was for faster recovery because recovery used to be quite painful in that you would have to first recover the full backup and then each incremental backup in sequential order to get to the point that you want to get to. Well, you don't have to do that anymore because with this system, one, there's self-healing. So as each incremental runs, it will acknowledge, it'll validate the previous incremental. If that fails, it'll run an incremental from the point before it. So if there's a self-healing mechanism in this, you don't have to worry about one incremental breaking your entire chain. Also, there is no step difference as far as how many steps it takes to recover if you have one incremental versus 1,000 incrementals. So what we do is a continuous incremental section or strategy, which means we're going to run a full backup and indefinitely run incremental backups. This actually means you have a viable online backup strategy because each day you would only be backing up incremental files versus backing up a full image every week, which if you have a 100 gig server, maybe it compresses to 50 gigs, maybe that takes 50 to 100 hours to back up depending on your environment. It'll take a lot of time. You see that it uses VSS right here. VSS is Volume Shadow Service by Microsoft. This is how we do the transactionally consistent backups. The transactionally consistent backup difference is huge. A lot of people ask, can you back up an open file? Can you back up an open SQL database? you're really asking, does it back up a transaction in a consistent way? What BSS does is it will negotiate with the database and say, hey database, do you have any transactions going on currently? I'm trying to take a snapshot. Can you finish up what you're working on and then pause for a second? So the database will say, sure, I have BSS Writer enabled, so I'm good to go with that. And it'll stop all the transactions after the last one it processes. The system will take a snapshot, and then the database will continue. This happens in milliseconds. And this is important because the worry and the reason we ask, can you back up SQL databases while it's open, is because there are a lot of crash-consistent backup programs out there that would literally just take a snapshot in the middle of a transaction. And transactions are only stored in pairs. So let's say Donna is buying a MiG fighter from Tim for $1 million. The transaction has two parts. Take $1 million out of Donna's account and send it to Tim's account. A crash-consistent backup could potentially take a snapshot after it takes $1 million out of Donna's account and hasn't yet put it into Tim. That means if we were going to restore to that point, we would lose the record of that having happened. Well, that's no good for Donna or for Tim. Hopefully Donna still gets the MiG. For a transactionally consistent backup, it would first negotiate with the database and say, hey, finish all your transactions, and it would keep that record. So that's the difference, and it's important to understand that. So we hit next. Then it comes to compression. Standard compression is recommended about 50%. Of course, it depends on the types of files on your server. So that's a good one. For those of you in healthcare, anyone in healthcare need HIPAA compliance? Well, if you are, January 2010, all of your local backups must be encrypted at 128-bit AES. So we come to this part of it, and we select 128-bit AES. For the online portion, we are going to put a 256-bit AES encryption before we transfer, so that is a standard part of our online backup procedure. But for a local backup strategy, you need this to be enabled for healthcare. While we're in the advanced section, we can see that we have some pre-snapshot and post-snapshot commands we can put in, as well as post-backup. Typically, what you would use this for is if you have an older database that is not BSS enabled, doesn't have a BSS writer in it, doesn't understand the negotiation that's going on. So what you would do is write a little bash file, stop the database before the snapshot, and then restart it after the snapshot. And then you can have a workaround for those databases that are not BSS enabled. Then the image, we see that the self-healing is automatically enabled, so that's good. That's pretty much what you're using there. We have an option to split the images up into smaller chunks. When you go off-site, again, it's a difference of the type of access and the procedures we're going through. We have a lot of nonlinear algorithms that we're putting on the file. So the time to process large files is dramatically different than the time to process a smaller file. It's not a one-to-one relationship. It's not linear. So we recommend putting in some sort of limitation where it's, a 10 gig, split it into like a 6 gig file. So you just enter whatever you want to do. So between 5 and 10 gigs split is good. And again, it doesn't affect your management of the files because the recovery is intelligent and you don't have additional steps. So we hit next. This is a summary. We hit finish, and it's going to run in 10 minutes. So now that we have that set up, let's get this data off-site. So we open up our online backup and recovery manager. First, we come to set up online backup, and we have a scanner. We have scanner settings here. So for your users, it's really nice to be able to push this out. Then we have an MSI, so you can drop it as a software policy across your network. But you can have it just scan my personal folders, and it'll tell you what's here. If you mouse over the little information icon, you can see all the different types of files we're looking for. Or you can say scan all folders, and it'll go through and scan that. You can also customize the scanner settings. So if you want to add additional directories, additional folders, you can do that very well. So very flexible, and you can actually set up all your backup systems through the scanner. So to include folders, here I've added my F drive. I can add other drives as well. Or I could just say do not scan. When I hit do not scan or any of those items, I'm still going to be thrown into the Windows tree view. So this is very familiar to all of our Windows users out there. So we have all the different drives. The F drive is what we've been using as our backup directory, our staging machine. Real quick question: does a full image include programs as well as data? Yeah, if you're getting the C drive, and that's where you're installing your programs. Yeah. So here we have the F drive, and we have all the images selected. The check mark on the directory means anything added to this directory is going to be backed up in the next subsequent backup. If I uncheck something, it's going to go to a square, and the square means something within this directory is selected, but not everything added to this directory will be backed up. If I reselect it, it doesn't mean that I have to go back and recheck it. So you can expand, go through all this. If we click on the directory, we'll see what files are actually in there. So let's say that's our backup step. We hit next. Now we go to schedule. So back at the end of the wizard, we'll uncheck that for now. Back up automatically without Windows user intervention. This is going to set up a scheduled task through Windows. So we go to the task scheduler, and we can do additional modification through the task scheduler library. Backup even when Windows user is not logged on. This is for your Windows domain environment. If you're in a Windows domain environment, you're going to need to go ahead and enter the Windows domain credentials, or you will get permissions errors. Unlike a lot of other systems, we don't have our own accessibility rules. We strictly base it on the user that's using the software. So if this user has permission to read and write from that directory, then so does the software. If it doesn't, then the software won't. Frequency. For your workstations and laptops, every couple of hours is a good strategy to have. Good restore point objective, RPO. How old is the data to the point at which we can recover it? That's really simple. For your servers, you're probably going to go to more of a daily regime. And for both for the initial backup, you may do daily and then switch afterwards. We have email reporting, so you can receive email reports to multiple email addresses. Just separate them with a comma. And this is on top of the monitoring dashboard that we already looked at. So we hit finish, and that's going to schedule our online backup. Great. So now let's recover. Now let's say we have the backup set scheduled. So we have the image backup going. We have files and folders selected as well as the images going off-site. Now we need to restore something. We hit restore. We go to online restore, and it's going to refresh the data from the server. It's going to give us a bold date for each day that there's a backup that's run. We can go back in time, and it will refresh back to the date at which we select. This is going to refresh my backup set and all the versions of the files to what it looked like on that day. So Lasso demo, which is what we're on now, F drive, there's one file. If I go back and say, okay, let's just go back to today's date, hit next, we can see we've added a lot more. We've added a Mac, and with the Mac client that we've recently released to our partners. A lot more machines. We go to Lasso demo through the F drive. See that there are a ton more files in here. We can arrange all this information this way. That's one nice way. I actually prefer to recover through the classic view because I can expand it to the whole screen, and sometimes that's helpful if you really want to see some details and you have a long file name. When it comes to versioning, it looks like a drop-down like this, gives you a timestamp and the size difference, and you can select the one you want to recover. This is also nice because let's say I want to recover backup job 1. So I go through and I see all the incrementals for backup job 1, and it goes, it's pretty big, and then I just shift select that, and I would hit OK, great, let's go ahead and recover. And then it would take me to options to recover to a default location or a new location. I could include the original file path. I probably wouldn't include the original file path like this. Original file path is helpful if you're restoring, say, an entire drive and you want to keep the folder structure intact. But I'm only recovering files from one directory. I'm not recovering multiple directories, so I probably wouldn't do that. So we recovered, and let's say we recovered to the, let's say, the F drive again. That's our staging machine. So we come in here and we go, okay, we need to recover one of these incremental files. Let's just right-click and say, okay, quick mount. Drive Job 2, 18, and this is through Windows Explorer. This isn't having opened any other program. So all of a sudden, it mounted Virtual Drive N, and now we have our Exchange data. Very simple. So that's a really easy way to recover. If we go through the wizard and go to Restore, it'll first ask us to do the same thing. Select the backup job you want. So I'm sure, hit Open. This is going to give us some information about the image that we've selected. Then it's going to say, hey, we've recognized a whole string of incrementals for this backup job 6. So I'd say thank you. I'm going to select the most recent one, hit Next. I'm going to select the drive letter. I'll select O, some other options. I'll hit Next, and then it gives us the recovery chain. Then Finish. And that's what I'm talking about. There's no step-by-step process of recovering each incremental. You just select the one you want to get to, and then here we are. We just mounted the 2 different virtual drives in a matter of minutes. So now we have that information, and we've recovered the Exchange server. Let's talk about Exchange granular recovery. A lot of good questions coming in. I just want to finish the demo as we're coming up to the end of the hour. So we open up EGR. And first, we're going to pick the source file. So what are we recovering from? Well, I'll go to the most recent one we recovered, Exchange Drive O, Mailbox, Mailbox, Mailbox. There's the EDB. We hit Open. Automatically selects the transaction log file path. If it's different for whatever reason, you can change it. Hit OK. And now it's going to load up the Exchange information that we recovered from this file. Now we have to pick a destination. You can do a target PST, which is typical for digital discovery, or if you are really just giving it to someone external of the Exchange network. More common is just open up a target Exchange server. So connect all the mailboxes. Again, this is authenticated based on the Windows user we're using. So it's going to look for who I'm logged in as, and it's going to give me a yes or no, you are an administrator for this mailbox. So here it is. This is what we currently have, and this is what we have up here. So we see we can expand, we can see all the different items. So let's say user 1 comes up to us and says, hey, you know, there's this email I had, there's an attachment I need right now, something to do with management. Can you find it for me? I need it. So you can browse, you can search through his inbox, hit Find Now. Then you get this list of different files. So those of you who know Backup Exec know that already we're a step ahead. Then you double click this, and then we get a preview, 2 steps ahead. Take a look at the attachment, 3 steps, 4 steps ahead. Very easy to do. We go user 1, demo, and he says that's the one, so we're going to just drag and drop it into his inbox. And there we go. It's now recovered into his inbox. Let's say a different scenario. Let's say we wanted to see who in the live server has seen that management file. Let's say we sent out a file that had sensitive information and it was an accident. You know, it was management discussion of getting rid of somebody or something like that. Well, we can browse through the active Exchange directory, Find Now, and it's going to search through all the mailboxes and give us a list of all the messages that include this attachment. And we can either save this as a report to turn in, or you could shift select all these messages, and then once it's finished searching, here we go. And it's still searching. Once it finished searching, then we could delete them off the live server. So you have a lot of flexibility in what EGR lets you do, and it's very simple, very powerful. Also, we can just drag and drop a user mailbox on here. For some reason, we need to just do a complete backwards. I'm going to cancel this. If we need to do something like that, or we can take the whole EDB and move it to the new hardware. Just a quick drag and drop. And it'll ask us if we want to create the additional mailboxes that it does not recognize on the live server. So very, very powerful tool, very simple to use for its power. And what's great is that unlike a lot of services, you don't have to purchase the ability to backup Exchange, separately the ability to recover Exchange, separately the ability to recover Exchange at a granular level. It's just included, all of it together. So we just wanted to make the whole process simple for our partners and for your customers. Any questions on the program? Donna asked, is there a way to validate the backup once it is done? That's a good question. You know, one of the managed services that I always recommend to our partners is to do test verification, so fire drills, if you will. So you go through and recover their data on site and see what it takes to get it done. I know a lot of partners who get a lot of customers that way. They just have the customer point them to the backup solutions they have running, backup strategies rather, and then they do a mock disaster recovery. And usually, unless there's a good plan in place, you can show a lot of holes in the whole thing. But it's a great managed service add-on. Some of our partners who do that will do test recoveries on a regular basis and then keep those files in their office. So then you have a whole nother, again, we talked about the development defenders approach. There's a whole nother layer of security in that. Is, okay, you have data on-site, you have data off-site with SOS, like in the cloud, and we also have a manual off-site backup at our office. Huge, huge, huge solution. People really will respect the layers of redundancy in backup solutions. So back to our program, and any other questions about what we went through with the service, the software? They look good. Anyone like what they saw? Didn't like what they saw? And go ahead and call in to our partner specialist. The number is 877-896-3611. I'm going to have the chat. Extension 1. Call into our partner specialist. Set up a time where they can go through an ROI with you to understand your business, your model, and what package best fits you. And if you're doing break fix and newly moving into managed services, or doing managed services and needing to add a backup solution, or if you have a retail presence, or if you're doing something where you're selling a lot of web-based traffic, ISP software, maybe a package of services. We have partners in all walks, and we'll be able to make sure that the program you get into is appropriate for your current and your future plans of operation. All right, I think with that, that pretty much sums it up. Thank you all for your time today. We look forward to having you on board. And again, name's Derek Wood, Partner Product Manager here at SOS, and looking forward to seeing you out there. Cheers.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.